Good afternoon to you all, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever it is you're watching. Glad to have you tuned in for the last session of this week's bootcamp on the GNI live training sessions. My name is Eugene Okumu. Happy to take you through today's session. And we've been doing this for the last 5 days, and I hope that you've been getting some good insights from some of the content that you've been looking at online. So today's session is going to be on advanced search and investigative journalism. We've previously looked at environmental journalism. We've also looked at data journalism. Then we also had storytelling with Google Earth as well. We also looked at rather today we'll be looking at advanced search. So I hope that you've gotten some good insights from what we've been looking at. I'll quickly share the presentation for today so that we can see what we'll be up to. So as mentioned, Eugene Okumu is my name, teaching fellow for the News Lab covering the Sub-Saharan Africa region. My email address is eugenepatrick@google.com in case you're interested in sharing any questions about the sessions we've had so far, and specifically today's session as well. Then just a recap of what we've looked at. We've looked at storytelling and storytelling with Google Earth. That was on Monday. Tuesday, we followed up with verification. Wednesday, we jumped into a bit of data journalism and looked at how you can better tell stories using numbers and a combination of text, pictures, and animations. Thursday, we delved into environmental journalism, just understanding how fisheries, the fishing industry operates, looking at forest covers, and the likes. So today we wind up with advanced search and investigative journalism. And hopefully this session will also prove to be beneficial to you. As has been the norm, before we take a deep dive into today's session, we'll get to understand a bit of the why of the Google News Initiative operations and why we're hosting the GNI live sessions via YouTube. So the core function of the Google News Initiative is covered in 3 pillars. Specifically, the Google News Lab deals with elevating and strengthening quality journalism. And that is just helping journalists better navigate the online segment of storytelling and how you can have confidence that what you're reporting is factual, and also a bit of innovativeness in how you're telling the stories. Other divisions of the Google News Initiative also deal with helping news organizations with the evolving business models and driving sustainable growth. But you're also empowering news organizations through technological innovations. 2 ways in which we do this. We have developers working constantly to ensure that we are presenting tools that are both useful but also different in the approach of how you can tell stories. But we also do give grants through the Google News Innovation Challenge, where we fund individuals, news organizations, developers, anybody interested in providing a solution on how best to tell stories online. So these are the 3 key pillars that really advise how we deal with or why we have such a close relationship with journalists. To learn more about the tools that we looked at throughout the week and some of the techniques that you can use in storytelling, as well as some of what we'll be covering today, g.co/news training is the website to visit. There you'll find thematic courses designed to help reporters navigate considerations for news and storytelling in the digital age. These are courses, of course, that you can take at your pace and are tailor-made to give you the skills in the shortest time possible. So they range anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. The beauty of the platform as well is if you score 100% on any of the over 50 courses that we have there, which are updated on a quarterly basis, is that you also get a certificate. That's if you get a 100% score. So once you're done with the session today, feel free to jump in, have a look at what you can get out of the news training platform. So as I mentioned, today we'll be looking at advanced search, and there's always the question of whether people, and I meet a lot of skepticism rather when I ask the question of whether people know how to use advanced search, especially for news and storytelling. because the Google search platform has been with us from 2000 and from 1998 rather, and it has really helped people find information online and enabled people to gain new insights. But for news and storytelling, we have a bit of a difference in how you can use a platform. And the whole essence of it is just getting to understand, rather getting to the information that you're interested in faster, and pinpointing where you actually want information you're interested in coming from. And we'll quickly jump into a few examples of what you can do with the platform. So as I mentioned, the platform started back in 1998. What you're seeing on screen is what it looks like today. But back in 1998, this is probably what you would have encountered, or you encountered if you are performing searches back then. Personally, I was still very young, so I did not have the chance to search for content online up until much later. But this is what it looks like. And you basically had about 4 to 5 different search results presented on a very colorful interface. And today it looks a bit different. So whereas once upon a time your searches just yielded text results, today you have a very media-rich search result page once you've conducted a search. And this is more so for news stories, in case you're looking for information around personalities or events. So you'll always get very media-rich results when you perform searches on Google search today. Some of the categories of information you're likely to encounter in the case that we're looking for stories about food, for example, you're likely to get an article on the particular keyword you're looking at. And because of how the algorithm is set up to give you results for your searches, you're also likely to get recipes. So say you're looking to make an apple pie. You'll get articles about apple pies. You'll also get recipes, but then you'll also get reviews about apple pies, and or rather, or any other category of information you're looking for. So how the platform works now is it's giving you a 360 view of the kind of information you're interested in finding. So what we're looking at right now is what we call a structured data testing tool, and this just enables the Google search web crawlers to be able to present information about your particular website in the way that you have categorized it. So it is an important element to understand when categorizing information on your website, so that it is searchable to the audiences that you're hoping to get online. So the particular platform we're looking at, so the platform is called Structured Data Testing Tool. The URL for this is sorry about that. If I can just quickly jump out of this and show us the structured data testing tool. So the particular tool we're looking at is search.google.com/structured-data/testing-tool. So this is what you encounter once you've clicked into the once you've keyed in the URL and accessed the site. So we'll look at the example of a publisher from Kenya. Right, so once you've keyed in the particular URL that you're interested in understanding whether it's whether the site is properly structured, this is the result that you usually get. So you have 0 errors, 0 warnings with regard to the organization, and no errors or warnings with regard to the website. And for person as well, no errors. So you have the option of conducting a new test, or you can check out the settings and the likes. So that's the data testing platform, as I mentioned. Yeah, so that's the data testing platform, as I've mentioned. And that's what it looks like. And if you're testing your website's searchability, that's what you will encounter. Right, jumping back into the presentation. So for advanced search, a few things to note with how you can conduct a search. Sometimes if you key in a generic keyword into the search panel, you usually get a mix of results that you're looking for. In this case, we're looking at Buhari. This is the president of Nigeria. And if you key in such results, I mean, if you key in his name in the search panel, you're likely to encounter a few things. And as I've mentioned with the evolution of the search platform, is that nowadays you'll get very media-rich search results. So on the left side of the screen, you can see that there's a story about an alleged wedding. Then Igbo traders and Buhari review policy on exports. So it's a mix of information about Buhari. So as part of the evolution, this is a quote from one of our founders, Larry Page, where he said, the perfect search engine should understand exactly what you mean and give you back exactly what you want. So it is also the practice that sometimes if you're searching in Google, you're likely to encounter a correction on your spelling in one instance, or a suggestion on a combination of phrases that you're probably interested in looking for. So that is how the search engine is learning search behavior and giving results that you are particularly interested in. But that's not to say that it will only serve you results based on corrections of your particular keywords that you're looking for. Sometimes it will also just serve you results based on what it is you've keyed in, even if there's a spelling error or there's a mix-up in the phrases that you're looking for. But today, we're also going to look at a few elements you can use to just search faster and better. So what you're seeing on screen right now is what is part of what we call search modifiers. And what modifiers do is they help Google search better understand what exactly it is you're looking for. So in this case, we're going to use a hyphen, and what the hyphen does is it advises Google to ignore particular words and characters when you're performing a search. In this case, we're looking at Jaguar speed minus cat. So we know that Jaguar is a noun for two different categories of information. In the one instance, a Jaguar is a big cat, but in another instance, Jaguar is also a type of car made by Land Rover. So if you key in your search result, your keyword in this way, Jaguar speed minus cat, it eliminates results for the car, rather the cat, not the car. It eliminates search results for the cat. And I will quickly jump into search and show us how that works. Right, so I've gone ahead to key in the particular search term that I'm interested in finding information for. So as you can see here, we have Jaguar speed, and the result you're getting back is that the cat moves about 50 miles per hour. And then you'll also find other ways in which people are asking questions about Jaguar, excuse me, which is faster, Panther or Jaguar, which is faster, Jaguar, Leopard, and so on and so forth. So now we want to go ahead and modify this and say we do not want results for the cat. And what you find is a result about the speed of a particular model of Jaguar. So the four-door sedan will have a top speed of up to 200 miles per hour. And then also you see questions about how people are searching for Jaguar, the car. How fast is a Jaguar? How fast can a Jaguar F-Type go? And so on and so forth. So this is mentioned modifier that you can use when you're interested in finding a very pinpoint result for the keyword that you're interested in. And also with working in the online space, sometimes you don't really have the luxury of time. So you want to be able to find results in the shortest time possible. So the next modifier we're looking at is, as the caption describes, searching for keywords on a specific website. In this case, we're looking at search results for COVID-19 in the World Health Organization website. And I'll combine this with the next slide, where we're also looking for keywords on a specific domain. So in this case, again, we're looking at COVID-19 from a Kenyan domain, and especially a Kenyan government domain, so that you get insights on what the Kenya government is writing about COVID-19. So again, I'll quickly jump into search and quickly show us some of those examples that we have looked at. So searching within a particular website and searching within a domain. All right, there we go. So we'll type in COVID-19 as a generic term and see what it brings us. So because I'm located in Kenya, it will show me a few instances of information about COVID-19 as covered in Kenya. Right, so you can see that this is a variety of information that is available on the pandemic from Kenya. So if you were then to start modifying it and say, so you want search terms on COVID-19, and then we say site, and then we go World Health Organization.international. So you can see that all the search results we have on screen are about content that the World Health Organization has published around the coronavirus pandemic as well. So the other modifier we used was for a particular domain. Let's see what the government of Kenya is publishing about COVID-19. And as you can see, if we check all the URLs on screen, so we have health.go.ke, which is predominant on coverage of COVID-19. But you also have president.go.ke, and this is a statement addressing the pandemic. This was done on Monday, 27th of July from State House, which is the official residence of the president, and then so on and so forth. So if you check any of the pages, you'll get that all the information is contained from government domain and contains information about coronavirus. So those are two modifiers that I've just shown us that you can use when you're conducting a search within a particular website, but also within a particular domain. Right, so we go back to the slides and then we look at other modifiers. So here we have an example of information related to a particular site. And what this modifier does that is interesting is that when you tell it you're looking for information related to a particular website, it presents to you all the information about the other sites, but not the site itself. So what it does is it references the site you have mentioned, but then it doesn't present for you results about that particular site. And again, here we'll quickly jump in and see an example of how that goes, and see what you can get about see what you can get about the related sites that we're going to look into. So let's go to related, and be mindful of how the typing is done. So you'll have related as a term, and then you put in the colon, then type in the site that you're interested in finding out about and seeing what's related to it. So Daily Maverick is a publisher in South Africa. It's a digitally native news organization, and they purely started publishing their content online. This was back in 2009. So we're looking at sites related to Daily Maverick. As you can see, we have Mail and Guardian, So Good News from South Africa, MoneyWeb as well, and so on and so forth. And if you check here, the search result only has one page, but none of them contain anything about Daily Maverick itself. And so, like I mentioned, Google is only referencing Daily Maverick to give you the search result for other publishers who are probably relaying information similar to Daily Maverick. So that's how you use related to be able to tell, or rather be able to find such results about platform you're interested in. All right, so we jump back into the slides. And the next one is looking at content that has been cached online. So in this example, we're also looking at what has been cached about dailymaverick.co.za, and quickly jump back into my search panel and see what you can find about it. All right, so I've gone ahead to type the particular search terms I like information about it. And when I click on search, this is what it brings me. This is what has been cached about Daily Maverick online. So this is a variety of content from as recent as a minute ago. Just going to close that. From as recent as about a minute ago. Yeah, and as old as when they first started caching. So that's how that looks like once you've conducted your search. And I'll jump back into the presentation. All right, so one of the other platforms that we're looking at for advanced search is the Wayback Machine. And what this does is it also shows you what has been cached about a particular publisher over a range of time. In this case, we're looking at Punch newspaper from Nigeria, and what has been cached about them online. The Wayback Machine also gives you interesting insights into when a particular domain first went live. But an important point to note is that in the instance that the domain name may have changed, it will sometimes show you like a different timeline from when the publication actually started. So that's something to note when you're using the Wayback Machine. So if the particular publisher you're looking at changed their domain name at some point, it would be advisable to have both of them. So what we're looking at on screen as well is the archived content from Punch newspaper in Nigeria. And you can see that they started back in 2003. But the highest volumes have been recorded from about 2012 to date. So this is a quick search I did of what they were publishing back in 2004. So you can see there's a story about fuel queues returning as market holds fuel. And then that was the layout of the page. If you look at the left side of it, you can see where the menu was. This is in 2004 when websites were still quite fledgling, in the sense that they're only now coming around to being adopted as as a platform for information. So that's what the Wayback Machine is capable of with respect to showing archived content about websites. So another modifier that we can look at here is searching for file type. In this case, we're looking at file type.csv, that's comma separated values. But this basically works for pretty much any type of document you're interested in. And at this juncture, we can quickly get into search and see how that works. So I'll quickly share my screen. So I already have Google open, so I can say, for example, the evaluation. Site. W. So we're looking for information about evaluation. You're looking for it from a website in Zimbabwe. That is so, and then we're interested in a PDF. So we can modify this further, but just to show how file type search works, you note that all the results we're looking at here are PDF documents. As you can see, as denoted by the PDF in a tiny box right next to the URL, right, and right above the hyperlink. So this is information about devaluation in Zimbabwe contained in PDF documents. That is basically what that modifier does. If I could quickly get back to my presentation and look at another modifier. So one of the other things that's important to note is you can combine multiple modifiers. And as I've just shown us in the last example, I was looking for information about devaluation in a domain in Zimbabwe. And I was looking for a particular file type. In this case, I was looking at PDFs. So as you've seen, it has given results about this. So we can quickly jump into another example, see if we can get some insights into, say, the coronavirus in Africa from World Health Organization. So quickly jump into that. I'll cancel that last search I was doing. And say COVID-19 and site World Health Organization.int. So I'm including Africa in the keyword search, but notice that I've also put it in quotation marks so that it is very specific about, in fact, let me just expand that and say COVID-19 in Africa. So what I'm telling Google is I want this particular phrase and see what results I get from the World Health Organization site. Then I'll say file type PDF. So we hit search, and then you can see that there's information about COVID-19 in Africa. And then this is a PDF contained in the World Health Organization document, in the World Health Organization website. You can further say entitled. so that you're telling Google search that you want information about COVID-19 in Africa contained in the title of the document, contained within the World Health Organization website, and then the document should be a PDF. So we hit search. Okay, so that shows that there's no document with that combination. So you can alter the filter so that it's not specifically that phrase. Then we hit search, you can see that we found some results. So this is basically situation report, coronavirus disease, COVID-19. But this is still World Health Organization, and these are still PDF documents. So that is how you can use a combination of modifiers to find information that is very specific. And as I mentioned, the purpose of the modifiers is that it pinpoints the exact information that you're interested in finding from the particular source that you're interested in. Right, so I'll jump back into the presentation and we can carry on. So the next segment of alerts of advanced search that you're looking at is alerts, and this is basically getting to tell Google that you're interested in a particular set of information, but that you don't want to keep refreshing your browser to be able to see the information. So what alerts does, the name suggests, is you can type in your search term, and then you can have the search terms sent to your email for you. So what we're looking at on screen is an example of a search term that I was interested in finding out. So this is Untitled COVID-19 site from a government site in Kenya, and the file type is PDF. So that is how you search that, and I'll quickly jump into alerts and show you a few other things you can do with the platform. So just basically being able to better target the kind of results that you're interested in getting from alerts. Right, so now we're in alerts, and let's go with the example that I showed us, which is entitled COVID-19, then site go.ke, then file type PDF. So as you can see, it will then serve you some results based on how you've keyed in your search term, and it's giving me results from Kenya. So this is Kenya Parliament, Laikipia County Government, Communications Authority of Kenya, Kenya Law, National Council for Persons with Disabilities. All these are contained as a government within the government website's domain, and all of them are PDF documents. So once you're happy with the keywords that you've typed in, you can opt to create the alert. I'll go ahead to create another one. This time I'll keep it to just a regular website in Kenya. Then I'll create the alert. So now you have your two alerts set up. A few things to note is you can change the alert at any time by clicking on edit. So you can also change how that alert comes to you. You can also change a few things, how often it comes to your email address, the sources you want to select from, the language, the region, and the types of results. So say, for example, you want specifically news organizations talking about COVID. You can select that. If you wanted to change the language, you can say you're interested in finding out about reporting on COVID-19 in Swahili, for example. And as you filter, you'll notice that the alert previews change. So in this instance, we can see that there's no publications putting out information about COVID-19 in Swahili. So we'll change that back to English. You can select a region. So we'll go with Kenya so that you're restricting the results to only publishers from Kenya. Information published in the Kenyan domain. So you have this option of selecting only the best results of all results. So once that is done, you can then go with update alert. It will take a few seconds loading and then your alert is set. So in case you don't want to flood your email inbox with all manner of alerts, because as well, for purposes of illustration of in different types of information, and you set alerts throughout the day. So the alerts will usually come at the time that you've set them up. Meaning, if you set up an alert at 8 a.m., you set up one day, set up at 2 p.m., that is how the alerts will be served. But supposing you don't want that many emails in a day, there's something you can do with the alerts platform. So you can select delivery time. Say you want your alerts all sent to you 5 a.m. in the morning or at midday. So you can set the time. Then when you press the option to have it as a digest, what you're telling alerts is that you only want one email containing all the alerts you've set up. This is sometimes ideal for information that you don't need to follow up on a minute-by-minute basis, but also generally just avoids the situation where your email is filled with alerts. But as well, if you're looking at something up to the minute or as it happens, you have the option of setting that with the regular edit of individual alerts. So like if you want to set up so that you're receiving information as it is published, you can select the as it happens option and just click on update, and your alerts will be served when there's any new information coming through about them. Right, so back to the presentation. Right, so there's this other platform, visualping.io. What visualping does is you can take a screenshot of either a section of a website, the whole page is a website, and then it will send you an if there's been any changes to the website that you're looking at, or the website of interest. Yeah, so it enables you to know if there's been updates done, perhaps there was an error in a particular website, or there was something that was really glaring as an error that needed to be corrected. So visualping.io is a platform to go to. We'll quickly jump into trends, but we'll just have an overview of it because I discussed this at length during the data journalism session that was on Wednesday, of which if you go to the Google News Initiative channel on YouTube, you'll be able to find it in the playlist under GNI Live SSA. So be sure to check that out and see an in-depth discussion of trends. But for purposes of today's session, we'll only look at it broadly. So I'll quickly jump out of my presentation and into the trends tab. Right, so this is what you get when you visit trends. A few things to note: you can change the location with using that drop down, or if you know the particular domain you're interested in looking through, it's g.co/, in this case I'll go with Kenya. So now you can see that Kenya is automatically selected, and if you scroll along, you see featured stories such as coronavirus in Kenya, shown on that map, and then it will also show you recently trending terms and topics in Kenya. Chris Tomlin and Friends, Lakers and Clippers, Idel Ada, Michael Joseph, Nathan Ake, Friendship Day, Natalie Tewa, and so on and so forth. At the bottom of that, you of course get a repository for year in search. This goes all the way back to 2001. Then a bit of information about the Google News Initiative, and links to taking the trends lesson in the news trading platform that I mentioned. As well, you have the hamburger menu, and under that, you have a few other options that you can explore. So you have the explore, for example, that gives you this page where you can compare multiple terms, up to 5 of them, and you have up to 25 different categories for the information that you're interested in. You can also filter by time so that you have a very short period or you have a wider period of time to choose from. As well, with the location filter, you can either select worldwide or a particular location that you're interested in. Then web search is basically just a source where the information is gotten from. As I mentioned in the Wednesday session, that the search indices are generated from Google search, YouTube, and then Google News. So those are the three areas in which you get information from to now relate to users. So that's a very broad understanding of trends. We can now continue to the other section of the presentation. Jump into my slides. Right, so google.com/scholar is the other platform that you can use when you're performing searches, and this is especially if you want academic information to back up the particular article you're looking at, or if you've seen something online and you feel like an academic publisher should be able to help you with verifying the information. Google.com/scholar is a platform to go to. Again, I will quickly open that. So that is what Google Scholar will look like when you're first visiting it. You'll see there's articles about COVID-19, so something from CDC, there's Nature Science, and many other publishers. So a few things you can do with this: you can set up a profile, and the profile allows you to also set up alerts very specific to the kind of information you're interested in. So because I already have a profile set up, I'll quickly show you some of the areas that you need to fill out when you're setting up a profile in Scholar. So it needs your name, it needs your affiliation, area of interest, email for verification, and if you yourself are a publisher, you can have your homepage in. You can opt to make your profile either public or private. Once you're done with that, you can save. You also have the option to add a photo. If you have worked with other co-authors in a particular research, say in containing the website that you've keyed in, you can also include that there. For alerts, they work pretty much with the same in the same manner as the alerts platform that we earlier looked at. So alert query here, for example, let's go with the COVID-19, and then you have your email, and you can select the number of results you're interested in. So you can say up to 10 results, up to 20 results. Then once you have that, you can simply create the alert. And periodically, if you check back, we'll see that there's certain information being supplied about the alert you set up. So going back to the main platform, the main dashboard. So say we're interested in finding information about COVID-19. Simply click it as a search result, and then you have a variety of options to look at about studies that have been published around the keyword. So again, a few other things you can do is you can filter it by time. So you have some presets since 2020, 2019, 2016, or you can set up your own custom range. So let's say 2020 to 2019, and click on search. And it will relay to you results for 2020, 2019. If you look at some of the results contained here, you'll see the date stamp on it. So 2019, then to 2020, and on and so forth. So this one as well also provides you a number of pages for as many results as findable. You can include patented content, you can include content with citations. You also have the option of sorting either by relevance or by date. So we have the date selected. And then from here, you can also create the alert. So the other way I showed you was one of the ways you can do it. So this is the other way you can get it done. So once you're happy with that, it's as simple as clicking create alert. Right, so that's how the Google Scholar platform works. And as you can see, it enables you to find information that is relevant to topics that have been verified by institutions that conduct researches. So it's also a very good way of ensuring that the information you're presenting is accurate. All right, so we'll quickly jump into investigations before winding up today's session. So under investigations, we have a platform called Backlight. And what Backlight does, if you can think of it, it's a digitized table of content for large volumes of information, either contained in handwritten documents, PDF documents, and now we also have text and audio that can also be uploaded to the platform and enable you to get information that you need out of it. And as I mentioned, think of it as a digitized table of content because it categorizes around personalities, around events, around dates, so that it's as simple as clicking on the name of a personality, clicking on the title of an event, or clicking around certain dates so that you can get to understand what is contained in the document. I'll quickly show us how that looks like. So when you're first visiting Backlight, it will require you to sign up. You can quickly show us what that page looks like. Yeah, but a point to note is that it's a platform that's still under development, hence the requirement that you sign up so that the developers get a better understanding of what you want to do with the platform. So that is what it looks like. And then once you signed into it, you're able to create projects. Now, projects are basically the volumes of documents, images, or audio that you're uploading to the platform. So that's what it means when you're setting up a project. A few examples of Backlight has been used is the Robert Mueller sessions with the Congress subcommittee. The records of the proceedings were used to create a project, and it also enables you to reference a lot of the information much faster. And then there's also a project that was done by the Baltimore Sun about federal agents blamed Martin Luther's nonviolent movement for violence in Baltimore and other cities. So those are some of the projects that have been created using Backlight. Right, to learn more about these and other tools, head over to g.co/news training. There, as I've mentioned before, you get you get to sign up to thematic courses that are designed to help you understand operations, the digital news and storytelling better. Verification for one, storytelling using Google Earth, search, which is what we've looked at today. data journalism, and a host of other courses. And those are updated periodically. So feel free to always check back and see what new things you can learn from the platform. If you have questions about a tool that you're interested in finding out more on, newslabsupport@google.com. That's the website you want to visit. Questions about today's session, eugenepatrick@google.com. Reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions that I am able to. To learn how to use the tools again, g.co/news training. Or if you're just curious to learn more about the Google News Initiative, g.co/news initiative. That's the website you want to visit. Right, so with that, I would like to say thank you so much for making the time this week to stick with me and learn about some of the tools and feature and techniques and offerings that we have here at Google News Lab. I hope you found the sessions very instructive and very insightful. And I hope that you can now confidently tell stories online with the knowledge that you've gathered. Once again, thank you so much, and do enjoy your weekend. I will definitely enjoy mine. It looks like it's going to be a sunny weekend in Nairobi. I hope you have also fair weather where it is tuned in from. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Do enjoy the rest of your afternoon.